You want basketball? We got you.
What about plays on the turf? We got you covered.
Or maybe even a knock right out of the park.
We give you our takes on the latest sports news, music, and anything trending around the world.
You are now in the clutch with Nia
And Malik. What is going on, guys? We bike. Episode 23. 23.
Wait, how would it look?
I was trying to figure that out all day. I think is it like this?
I don't know.
I think it's this because if we turn around,
Okay.
the two, yeah.
So, do I have it right or?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh,
You're
okay.
good. 23,
Yeah. Okay, what are we naming this episode? We got
we
the
got a
Jordan
lot to go,
episode. We got the Nia Malik episode since we're both 23. You know, we got the
It's a lot of ways we
LeBron
can go,
episode.
man. It's a lot of ways we can go.
We can't call it LeBron though.
No.
Why
Okay.
not?
What you mean?
Come on. Oh no.
You wearing 23 because of a whole nother man. You thought he just came up with the 23 just because?
Okay.
He ain't create the 23.
Jordan episode.
It's the Jordan episode, guys.
Don't get me started on that. Y'all want to open it up with that.
It's gonna be a whole nother argument.
Y'all ain't gonna have nothing to say on this.
We gotta have
thing.
a whole nother segment for that.
A whole nother segment.
Oh man, and you guys know since we have a guest, it's Kickin it every other week with Nia Malik. Nia, please do the honors, please.
It's an honor, for real. This week's guest, we are featuring multi-level basketball analyst and host of one of the dopest basketball podcasts, Tates Take Hoops, Deshaun Tate. What's going on?
What up, though?
What's going on?
What's up?
They do what up, though, where I
Yeah,
call
What
from.
up,
Detroit.
though?
What up, though?
I
Yeah,
know that.
I knew that. I got a couple people from Detroit.
Okay, no doubt.
I be hearing y'all.
I'm good, though. You know? We in the, what they call this again? What you said they call it?
Panoramic.
The panoramic.
You got Panda Express.
Yeah.
What
Y'all
else?
is-
I call
Food,
it the
man.
pandemic.
The pandemic. See?
Pandemic.
The
Hey,
pandemic.
you know, we were just saying before we started the show that, you know, sometimes we got to just laugh to keep from crying. You know,
that's
we
real.
got to find some positive inside of being a global pandemic.
True,
So,
true.
you know, we in a panoramic, Panda Express,
We ain't gonna lie
Panty,
right now.
all that.
Y'all ain't tell me I was coming over to the deck, though. like,
Hey man. Hey,
I
man.
stop at the gas station.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where we
I got my shirt tucked in and everything.
nah.
I'm locking all my doors.
lock them all.
Believe that.
Lock the
I don't work
windows.
too hard.
Lock your trunk. Lock it all. Welcome
Just
to the
let
east
us- hey,
side.
they know us, so you know you good. You
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, you good over here.
I ain't know.
You know, we from Decatur where
Yeah,
it's greater.
Well, I ain't
so.
seen many light skinned people hanging out outside either, though. I'm saying that because I'm light skinned. I can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all can't do that, though. Y'all can't make them kind
Hey,
of
we got the melanin, we got that chocolate going, so it's all
I ain't
good.
mad. I ain't mad.
It is all good, but look, it's even better because it is basketball season. Like it's
basketball
here.
season.
We
It's
got
here.
college hoops, we got NBA, we got all that good
All
stuff.
that.
So let's get into it. Draft talk. You know, interesting draft. Of course, not your typical draft. It was virtual. Of course, the pandemic has ruined a lot of different things from the draft stock, from, you know, guys wanting to either opt out or go ahead and go to the league or use their last year eligibility because the season, unfortunately, was cut short. So, Tate, what were your biggest surprises from the NBA draft this year?
I would probably have to say that besides the fact that I was a little bit, maybe not super surprised, but I thought that we'd have been able to have more opportunity to see these players kind of work out in some way, somehow, so that front offices and GMs and so forth can kind of see what you're getting. Especially all those guys that played international ball.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
that's
true.
really all you had a chance to see. And if you didn't physically get up and go over there,
Right.
you're really just going off of highlight tapes.
Yeah.
Right.
YouTube.
Which I'm not really a big fan of already in itself. But Patrick Williams being drafted number 4 to Chicago, I think is probably the biggest elephant in the room. A couple guys that I thought could have maybe gone, you know, a little sooner, but didn't. But It's all good. I mean, it was crazy. One of those guys is Cole Anthony out of North Carolina. Like around this time, about a year ago, we was talking about dude like seriously maybe being a top 3 pick.
True.
Right.
Remember that.
Arguably or inarguably like a top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
And I think he got drafted like 15, which he was slotted even lower just before the draft.
Right.
So, but he's a good talent. And there was a few others, but those are the ones that kind of stuck out more like a sore thumb above anything else.
Got you. Now, what draft pick do you think will make the biggest impact on their respective team?
The biggest impact?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, it's first of all, I'm not in love with nobody in this draft.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard.
Like
Kinda hard
there's
to
some
be.
guys that I like.
Yeah.
There's some guys that I like a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't see anybody that I just like absolutely love. I think what we looking at maybe I think RJ went Milwaukee.
Right.
I think that'll help them out a lot.
Yeah.
You got some others kind of sprinkled in here and there. Tyrese Halliburton going to Sacramento,
True,
I think
that's
is going to
big.
help them out a ton.
That's big.
Especially because there's too many instances where after paying I think up to like 196 million, you got De'Aaron Fox,
Yeah.
Right.
boatload of money. But I think that he can help contribute there as well. I mean, Isaac Okoro, a guy that I just love.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just what he brings to the table. I know a lot of people paid so much attention to him or paid so much attention to McEachern High School where he was at based out of outside of Atlanta. But to Sharif Cooper, who's
Right.
supposed to be at Auburn right now, but that's a whole nother conversation. But you know, not having that or having him there just pretty much did all the dirty work.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that you didn't see Cooper do.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was that Draymond Green. He was that Swiss Army knife. He was the emotional leader. He was the undersized, big rebounder and really the glue that kept a lot of that team together. So I think he's going to pan out to hopefully do really well with Cleveland. It's just, you know, when you got guys like Colin Sexton and you know, Kevin Porter Jr., Darius Garland all on one team, so many guards and so many different personalities is going to be kind of hard to figure out or take a while to figure out exactly where they're at from a chemistry standpoint.
Right.
I'm not saying I love the position that Okoro is in, but I definitely think that was a good pickup for them.
Yeah, that's it.
True. Your thoughts on the first 3 draft picks?
Interesting. I mean, I guess I'm okay with it. You know, I mean, I it's kind of hard to embrace the stuff that Anthony Edwards got going on right now and some of the words that are coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he's a ball player.
Yeah.
You know, and you got the best look at him over the course of a season because LaMelo was overseas.
Yeah.
And because Wiseman
Right.
only played his 3 games. So it was justifiable to an extent.
Yeah.
Especially when you start looking at his build and the things that he brings to the table that you can't teach, the athleticism and the mid-range jump shot and the NBA body and things like that. Now, in terms of James Wiseman, I'm just like kind of keeping my fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed, everything that he's not like Nerlens Noel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I see the DeAndre Jordan comparisons and maybe just a tiny bit of the Chris Bosh stuff, but I think that's going closer overboard.
Gotcha.
But he's a rim runner and a rim protector. He's athletic. Kind of reminds me of when Dwight was young. You know, he was skinny like that, you know what I mean? But he was crazy athletic for a guy that's 7 feet. Would it surprise me to see James Wiseman try and go into a dunk contest? Probably not. But that's just another guy that I wasn't really in love with. Then you got, you know, LaMelo Ball, who probably the only thing I think I probably like about him is the fact that he's light-skinned.
Hey, y'all got to sit together, don't y'all?
Hey, man, look, brighten his whole room up, boy. What you mean? But no, I mean, he comes to the table with some similar things that can't be taught, much like Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
But still different things. That being his length, his IQ, the things that come along with being a ball. You know, a guy with great vision and can see teammates. Now, his shot selection is kind of questionable. His defensive intensity is questionable, some of those things, but I think that every guy whose name was called a couple weeks ago, all 60 of them, we can say that they all have something that need to be worked on, specifically a jump shot. So that's just my take on pretty much those three guys.
Yeah. Now, you talked about, like you said, you talked about three main guys. Well, who's your Draymond Green, your Isaiah Thomas of this draft? Who are your diamond in the roughs?
I like R.J. Hampton. I mean, I like R.J. Hampton a lot. Tyrese Halliburton was another one. I mean, I kind of alluded to it already in a different question, between Halliburton and Okoro. Hampton is in that conversation. I'm trying to think. I know that there's another one that I can't just put my finger on right away, but I think that those are the main three for me.
What you think about Killian Hayes to the Pistons?
I don't know what to think yet. I'm still trying to figure that part out.
Yeah.
I mean, from a standpoint of doesn't really appear to be all that athletic. Not saying you got to be athletic to play in this game, but you got to have a little something.
Yeah.
But I know he's a lot in that same mode to an extent from everything I'm hearing to like a Tony Parker, which I guess is good. But I'm just not big on the international players.
I got you.
And I'm okay with admitting to the fact that I'm a little biased to American players because I know a little bit more of what I'm getting.
Right.
I was one of those people that said don't go get Luka Doncic, for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I saw a lot of that.
And I'm one of those people that are regretting it. I'll be honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it was to be done all over again,
Yeah.
where again we don't know what Luka is at the next level, I would still say
Same thing.
go and take Trey or whatever you're going to do. Like, I wouldn't have slotted him that high because as much as we point the finger and pay attention to the Luka or what other guy might be coming out from an international level that is successful, as few of them as there is, we don't really talk about the guys who's not as successful.
Yeah, you're hit or miss.
Exactly,
Yeah.
from internationally. So, I mean, I'm embracing it a little bit more than I once did, just because I'm starting to not only learn how much better a player can get by playing internationally, even if it is against old NBA players or older or experienced or whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
But more so the point that this game is starting to kind of translate or transfer into more international play,
Right.
being the NBA. So I think that helps a lot of those guys right now. It sure pays to be a guy coming out internationally right now following Luka because the chances of him being looked over is not going to be as great as it once was.
For sure. And before we get out of draft talk, I wanted to ask, have you been keeping up with some undrafted people that may have been signed to a team at all?
Some. One guy out of Georgia named Rayshawn Hammonds.
Okay, Rayshawn Hammonds.
I was paying quite a bit of attention to him. Played at Norcross. And I mean, for a guy like him who has really good size and can shoot the ball from outside, I don't know if I should say he doesn't play with enough urgency for me, but sometimes the intensity, I hate to get on here and call a dude soft, but like I always say, if it's true, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be that dude, but yet still, we here to keep it real.
Yeah.
I ain't drive all the way over here, waste my gas.
You go all the way to
And I ain't gonna keep it
Yeah.
funky.
Right. Keep it 100.
But yeah, but that's just one guy specifically, and I think he's been picked up by the Pacers. I don't think it's on a two-way contract. I think it's something else called Elite 10 or
Exhibit 10 or something
Exhibit
like
10.
that. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
So I don't really know what all that entails. I probably
Right.
should.
Right.
But I'm excited for any opportunity that he gets or that anybody else gets that hasn't been drafted. But my eyes are on him just to kind of see, the direction that he's going to go.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask, someone that I went to elementary school with, Kevon Harris from Stephen F. Austin, actually went to MLK right up the street. I think he was undrafted, and I think he's on the same thing with Rayshawn Hammonds. But when I see this guy, I mean, he's, 6'4", 6'5", can basically do everything on both ends of the court. And he got signed to the Lakers. So I'm definitely gonna keep an eye out on some of these undrafted guys because those are kind of the people that's been making the noise lately in the league for sure. The sleeper people.
Yeah, and for a guy like him, I kind of see it as if, first of all, I'm not sure where I can slot him at in terms of being like a natural point or a natural two.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a program like Stephen F. Austin, they're a successful program. They're no slouches. Shoot, they took down Duke last year.
And he was the driving force for that.
He was the driving force, exactly. So I think that's something that obviously helps and put eyes on him, so maybe some people can kind of keep up with what he's doing. But in some ways, I think being that guy that doesn't necessarily get all the publicity or whatnot of some of the other guys, I think it kind of helps them along the way. There's not as much pressure on them to succeed. They can kind of go in there, play their game, do some of the little things, and don't have to worry about people running around calling them overrated all the time and so forth.
Right.
And so I just think that those are some of the little things that actually help, players like him. So I definitely wish him the best in his future endeavors.
For sure.
All right, going on to free agency. Had a crazy free agency period. Who was your biggest free agent signing this season?
I think I'm gonna go with. Was Dennis Schroeder in a trade?
Yeah, he was in a trade.
Trade,
Yeah.
He was in a trade. Okay.
But if you want to use that one,
I like that one.
that was big.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Montrezl Harrell was huge.
Of
That
course.
was crazy.
That was
crazy
the
one.
Lakers came up.
Crazy.
Like the Lakers really came up.
Yeah.
You push Danny Green out the door.
Right.
Get Wesley Matthews.
Who is a guy that to me is one dimensional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You scratching on? I got something on my face.
Oh no.
I just know.
No. You're good. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to look at you.
And then when it get cold outside, you got the little
yeah,
little crusty around here.
No. You're good.
I just want to make sure I'm on point.
You're good. That was
Hey,
me.
man.
I'm sorry. I was
I
listening
know
to
that
you and I was
lotion-
scratching.
That Vaseline better be working. No, but no, like they came up. Like I said, Danny Green being a guy that I think is more so of a one-dimensional player.
Yeah.
Where all he can do is like he can shoot.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even doing that right.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
We saw that.
Exactly.
Doing that.
And like if not nothing else, I'm not saying he didn't play a part, but you start looking at the rings, like he almost starting to kind of look like Robert Ory to an extent.
Yeah.
Like just wherever he going,
He's just gonna get one.
it's
He gonna
almost
get
like,
one.
bro,
Right
come
decision.
over here with us.
Right, yeah. He in the right
You know
spot.
what I'm saying? Exactly. Because you're the good luck charm, it seemed like.
Yeah.
But just those pieces that they picked up. Like, I remember when Dennis Schroeder first got drafted, and the one comparison they was making for his game was Rajon Rondo.
Yep. I remember that.
So,
Yep,
with now Rondo being out the door and being a Hawk, you got somebody that's going to bring some more offense.
Got a younger guy, younger Rondo.
And even if he's not as good defensively as Rondo or as experienced, like he's still going to bring, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like he's still bringing some of that, some intensity, some defense, and he wants to win.
Yeah.
And I could tell that from when he was here in Atlanta. So, then you got a workhorse like a Montrezl Harrell, who's just like a force and just full of energy and that knack for rebounding and a nose for the ball and creating second chance points. Like, I don't know how much I remember of Kenneth Faried.
Oh, yeah.
But like when you think about energy,
Yeah.
like and somebody that can get after it, he don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Didn't they call him the Manimal or something like
Exactly.
that? I was like, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I remember
For a
that.
good reason.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And Montrez just looked like a dude that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, nah, for real.
Ever.
He do.
I want him on my side.
Right, nah,
We over
for
here-
real. Every
I just
time.
told you we over here in the deck. I need him. I need that man on my side.
For real. Anything go down, you better call Trez.
Call
Trez.
Call him. All right. So, which team had the best or worst free agency so far, in your opinion?
I think the Lakers may have had the best. It's between the Lakers and the Hawks easily.
Sure.
Yeah.
It might
Sure.
be a 50-50.
Yeah.
True.
the Hawks got what they need.
Of course.
Yeah.
Out of players.
For sure.
Of course.
You know, it might not be the biggest names. I mean, you got a Bogdan Bogdanovic or whatever. And, you know, you got your Danilo Gallinari. That's going to help them a lot. But they got what they need. They got some defense and Chris Dunn. I
Right.
mean, you picked up Rajon Rondo. I think I'm curious to know who's going to be that voice in the locker room, though, or who that guy is when things aren't going their way that's going to step up and be that emotional leader. That's like, I don't know what y'all about to do,
But I'm about,
But-
Yeah.
y'all with me?
Yeah.
Because I'm about to take the floor.
Right.
Yeah. We need
Damn
that.
what coach talking about.
Yeah.
We about to do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know who that player is. I'm curious to know what kind of Rondo we going to get.
Right.
That's the biggest question,
yeah.
really.
Are we gonna get the Pelicans and the Kings Rondo, or are we gonna get the Celtics and the Lakers Rondo?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what that's gonna look like, and even him helping him and Trey back and forth between each other. I mean, you could put those guys together to give Trey a little bit of a break. Sometimes, whether not even just him sliding down to the bench and then Rondo being to check into the game for him. But even in some situations where Trey doesn't have to have as many responsibilities and duties between passing the ball around, distributing it, scoring the basketball, and being a liability on the defensive end, you put those guys together and move Trey over to the 2 a little bit, where it's not even really like a 2. It's just like a combo guard position.
Right. Yeah.
The point guard position, I feel like, has become so not really extinct, but it's just slowly getting to, because you have so many more combos now.
Yeah.
Versus you do having pure pass first point guards.
Yeah.
And I think that they have the best 1-2 punch in terms of starting and backup point guard, like the craftiest at that position. I don't think nobody can match that in this league.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's your worst?
I don't know, but my Pistons ain't doing a damn thing.
You know, and I was about to say, you're going to have to call out your hometown on
Call
this
out
one.
your own
Oh,
side.
I
What
afraid
the
of
hell
mine.
was that?
I ain't afraid to get. I am not afraid, and I love them.
Goodness. Yeah.
And I love them.
Yeah.
But I know there was some talks, which is crazy to think of, leading up to the draft and whatever, what have you, that maybe they were talking about trading Blake Griffin
Yeah.
to the Warriors in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, and then moving their picks to try and go up to, I think, 2, to go and get Ball. Now,
I do remember those talks, though, about Ball.
None of that worked.
the impression that I was under
I remember that.
was that there was a chance that might happen. If you put Andrew Wiggins and LaMelo Ball on the same team
I don't like it.
in a Motor City Bad Boys Detroit Pistons uniform, I can almost guarantee you would have had one less diehard fan. Straight up and down. 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Elevator, escalator.
Oh, my goodness.
Straight up and straight down.
Straight down.
Straight up.
You know, that reminds me, because you brought up Blake Griffin. I know this is a little off topic, but where do you think he's at in his career right now?
I don't know where he at, but I'll tell you, him being so close to Derrick Rose, I hope they having some talks.
Yeah. Same.
About how to, I'm not sure the word I'm looking for, but I know it starts with re. They need to re something. Re-energize.
Yeah,
Re
something,
everything.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
re everything.
Yeah.
Re up.
I mean, they was talking about maybe blowing this whole thing up and maybe trying to just do it all over again, you know?
Wow.
And I'm like thinking to myself, you've already been doing that.
Yeah.
You know
years.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You know, yeah.
Like
It's been a while.
Something got to give.
Like,
Something got to give at some
trying
point.
to re-energize things, I guess,
Yeah.
maybe you can't re-energize energy. Like, you got to be doing something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it's just time to put, it's time to put the foot on the accelerator if you the Pistons and start trying to do something, because right now it looks like they're just trying to lose.
Yeah.
They signed a lot of. They made a lot of moves, but
They did.
I didn't understand the moves
At
I
all.
didn't
Like
understand.
Some of them I did a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially in the draft. I mean, Jahlil Okafor, I think, is not like when he was coming out and people loved him and whatever, first of all, if this was the 10, 15 years ago draft, then I can see where he would be utilized a lot more.
Yeah.
But this isn't that. And actually he got to the league and didn't do all that good and went through some things off the court, what have you. And then, kind of was still trying to make his way.
Right.
And I still think that he has a place in this league because he works really hard.
Yeah.
And he worked really hard on his body, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't, Big Baby Davis or
Yeah.
Jared Sullinger out there or nothing
Yeah.
like that. But,
I don't remember Jared Sullinger.
man.
Big boy.
Well, he can shoot though.
Big boy.
He can shoot though.
And he gonna let it
no, for real.
fly.
Yeah, he gonna definitely let it fly. He definitely gonna let it fly. Yeah,
Ooh,
if he ever
honey.
think about letting some of them pounds fly, he can
Yeah,
send some of them
true,
over
yeah.
this
Okay,
way.
okay.
Because it's like stepdaddy season out there in the cold right now.
I'm so
You know what I'm saying?
weak.
You gotta have a little bit of meat on you. Don't come up when that wind come blowing up
It's
through there like it's Chi-Town.
Chilly season.
Around them buildings and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
know what
Get
I'm
you a
talking
teddy bear.
Like, don't be trying to come run up behind me looking for some kind of, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
No.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm lucky
yeah.
this thing don't, you won't be chasing me down the street like what you call tumbleweed.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
tumbleweed.
Oh my God.
I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah,
weak.
you gotta get your weight up in the wintertime.
I'm so weak. Yeah, you gotta put on a couple pounds.
Yeah,
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
Couple.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. So, who was your most underrated signing? Who made the most underrated signing or who was the most underrated player that was signed, basically? Not team.
That's a good one. I don't know. I think this is gonna sound crazy, but I still like the Drew Holiday thing so much
Yeah.
more.
Oh, yeah.
I think the only reason I call it underrated is because I like it so much more than other people do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's real.
And even though I'm probably not like at the highest level of liking it and compare, I mean, there ain't many people who like it more than I do, unless their last name is Holiday and it's like his mom or something. But
Yeah, right.
other than that, but I liked it a lot because I just felt like he didn't get the credit that he deserved, and I didn't really care for him all that much coming out of UCLA, if I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I just wasn't like the biggest fan.
Yeah.
And while I'm not the biggest fan right now, he showed me. And then I learned a little bit about his background and his, upbringing and some of the stuff with his brothers and so forth. And I respected him, not necessarily more because I never disrespected him, but I respected him differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when you start thinking about what he brings to the table, I mean, I felt bad for dude because when it came to like defensive player of the year and stuff like that,
Snubbed.
I thought that he should have gotten
Getting
way
snubbed.
more credit.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I think I like that one more than maybe some of the others.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. All right, moving over into some Hawks talks. Of course, we've already briefly touched on it, but what were your thoughts on Travis Schlink's offseason moves to improve the Hawks this season, and what do you think is going to come out of it?
Well, we gonna see.
Yeah,
True.
It gotta work
yeah, got to.
Yeah.
It
Ain't no
gotta
other
work.
way. Like
Yeah.
this is
because I tell you what, I don't know Travis Schlink like that. I don't know Lloyd like that. But I've even grown to like Lloyd Pierce beyond
for
just
sure.
Most certainly.
that's
Oh,
another black man
for
in a
sure.
position,
For
Most
sure.
certainly.
and I want to see all black people.
Right.
I mean, but at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
heck yeah.
And you know when Mike Budenholzer got the boot,
Yeah.
and they brought in Pierce, I'm like, okay, a 2-3 year coach, whatever. Once they get the team to where they want it to be, they probably gonna ship him out, and so he's just gonna be here for a short time, and that's what they do with a lot of coaches.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
true.
But this is his chance.
Yeah.
This is
This,
chance.
To
this,
really
this
stick
the one.
in there.
Yeah.
This is one that he really, and it's there for the taking. It's there to do. A lot of fingers being pointed his way. That a lot of stuff I don't think is his fault, but I think he understands it's a business too.
Right.
Yeah.
I love Dude. I brought Dude on my podcast. Man, he's always been very sharp.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Good man.
a very good man.
Good man.
You know.
But
definitely looked out for me in some ways that he didn't have to, so I
Yeah.
got to show him some love. But he
Yeah.
understands when I say that it's a business,
It is.
Yeah.
exactly what it is. But this is his opportunity.
You got to show.
In the event that it doesn't really work out in his favor, I don't know if this is an intentional thing or if this is the way it's going to go or whatever, what have you. I couldn't imagine, so it's not like I'm that plugged into where I know.
Right.
But if it doesn't work out with him, it would be nice to see, especially in a city like Atlanta, especially for a defensive coach that Nate McMillan is, to slide right in there
Yeah.
Yep.
and get that spot.
I was just about to
I
say
don't
that.
know. Just bring that man back in here as an assistant under you.
Yeah.
He gave you a shot.
Yeah.
Bring him in, and I think that would be great. It's a win-win for everybody
Dope.
to an extent. And again, just hoping the best for Lloyd going into this season. But in terms of the moves that they made, I mean, look, they got the pieces that they needed.
Yeah.
It's there.
You know, I feel like Capella is essentially like a free agency signing still
true.
because
We ain't
we
seen him
ain't
yet.
seen him yet.
Yeah.
They ain't yet.
You know, I'm not sure where things are going to stand with Onyeka Okongwu, who plays that power forward position. Because of the injury and being so stout at that position, he's in a different position than maybe Cam or DeAndre or any of them were in because they had to come in and contribute immediately.
Yeah.
He can afford to take somewhat of a red shirt type of year and learn from behind guys. But you still got Bruno Fernando in the front court, which while that's not really nothing to sneeze at, it kind of has me curious that they're beefing up some of these positions. Again, I think Gallinari could probably play the 4 position in some cases too and stretch defenses with his ability to shoot. But what does any of this mean for John Collins? Is that their way of being like, we already kind of know what we going to do with you? And that's a dude. I like that dude.
Okay.
John.
I
Same.
mean, John
Same.
Yeah.
John is
John's
a good dude.
guy.
Yeah.
And I told John, like, to his face, because when they picked him up, I was just like,
Yeah, you think
I understand why you took him because who else you going to take? Like, who's left?
Yeah.
But I ain't, I ain't feeling dude like that. And then I seen what he was able to do. And I had to make a point to go and tell John that that's what was on my mind at that time.
Yeah.
And that's just credit to him because I take a lot of pride in my knowledge of this game and staying up late. You know what I'm saying? When everybody else be asleep, I be up.
You working.
And I'm on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm on it.
Right.
On it.
Yeah.
And the people who know me, they respect that. So when I say something like, but I could be wrong. And that man showed me that I was wrong, not only in his first year, but he's progressed from his from surprising people the rookie year to taking it from the rookie year a step up the second year, from the second year to the third year. I mean, dude has just been like, you can't really argue it.
Yeah.
The man want his money, and I ain't gonna be. Listen, I can't be mad. It's a lot of people in this league who getting paid a lot of money that they don't deserve to be getting paid.
Nope.
Outside of the fact that guys are, you know, I mean, the body is the temple, and you know they got to work out. They got to do all of them. Got to do that.
Yeah.
When you start talking about contribution and production, that man has brought that, and he been down with them throughout this entire time. There is no more Torian Prince, and I'm not even sure how many other guys are still on the roster from John Collins' rookie year.
Memory was the.
But he was bringing it.
Yeah. Memory was the last dude, I think, from like the old.
Yeah.
And then Schlenk brought in, John. So John is,
John has been right there.
John's the
but
older guy.
this is a team that couldn't afford to really get younger. I understand they had to make a choice in terms of picking somebody for the draft, but starting 5 guys all under the age of 25 is going to be rough for anybody. But I tell you what, like, there was a lot of optimism surrounding them going into last season. Everything for why it didn't pan out should not be pointed at John.
Yeah.
Because of his 25-game
Right.
suspension.
Right. It's an honest mistake.
But this is, here we are, 365 days later.
Yeah.
And people have a lot of high hopes and optimism. I hope for one thing. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little
you're
long-winded.
okay. You're good.
No,
Hey.
good. No,
No,
please,
this is
continue.
all you.
It's
Please.
pushing, though. It's
You answering
coming.
all
Drop that
questions.
knowledge. Let's go.
Like, I think that the most important thing for Hawks fans to do in this position is to not have your hopes high.
True, and that's big.
At Hawks Twitter.
Yeah,
please,
because it's a lot of people on Twitter that be talking.
I mean, people going crazy right now.
Yeah,
Nuts.
They are.
Let's see what it do first.
Right.
But I think that the expectations should be low, because if you don't meet the expectations, you won't be nearly as disappointed.
Like last season.
You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect example of last season.
Seriously. And then, but the Hawks team themselves should have high expectations for themselves, because they know what they got to go in there and do. But it all starts on the defensive end of the floor. You can't be getting 130 hung on you as many times as they did.
No, for real. No, you're right. You're right.
Straight up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there just can't be no more of that. So they help themselves so that they won't be in that position. They got some rim protectors. It would be nice to see them be able to stretch the floor a little bit in some of their front court players, but even John got better in that.
Yeah.
The same way Al Horford got better in that. I mean, I remember Al Horford when I was coming up in high school. Most people don't even know he's from Michigan. He's from Grand Ledge, Michigan.
Wow.
Now, translation to the folks around here in Atlanta, okay, because we in the deck.
Yeah.
Okay, we in the city.
You in the deck.
Right?
Right here.
Right here, right now. Okay. That's essentially where John or where Al Horford is from, is like where I currently live at, like Johns Creek. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
a lot of people didn't know that per se. But just watching him, like if he, like growing up, if he would have told people that he was going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA, what?
Yeah.
Believe him. Dude, I'm like, seriously. There wasn't no big, broad shoulders and all this stuff that you see of Al Horford today. There wasn't that. We talking about like rail thin, like dude could probably escape from behind bars. Like dude was so skinny.
Wow.
Al Horford?
Like hula hoop in a rubber band.
No way.
Hula hoop in a Cheerio. You know what I'm saying?
Not a Cheerio.
No,
Al Horford being skinny
I mean,
like
no,
that.
but
I can't picture it either.
And again, a lot of this obviously is being facetious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was very slim and just kind of, I'm not going to say gumpy, but he just kind of had that, just the coordination wasn't there the way that you seen. And then it was like, dude went to Florida because Michigan State didn't offer him.
Yeah.
He ended up going to Florida and then came back during the summer. He's still like a freshman or whatever at this point, and he just looked like a totally different person.
Wow.
Like they transformed the body, and then that's when he took that and then took it to the Hawk, and then it just, you know what I'm saying? But the thing that I loved about him the most is the fact that he worked on his game. He just had that game, that baseline jumper down and things like that.
Oh yeah, he will always make that. That was cash every time he shot.
Yeah.
But then he extended it out to the 3, and that just kind of reminds me of what I've seen the progression out of John Collins.
Yeah.
That's true.
Credit to all them dudes because I ain't hitting nothing. I'm shooting blanks in all the worst ways.
It's always about elevating your game.
Right.
You don't ever want to just get in the league and just get stagnant and just think that I made it. You still have to put in the work even after the fact because, you want to remain relevant. You still want to play the game.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but I've seen that in a lot of guys. And I mean, it happens, to where you get comfortable and you think, well, I made it. I'm cool. I don't have to do anything else, but like this is your career, like treat it like a job.
Yeah.
You want to continue to grow and get better every single time. And that should just come from just being an athlete within ourselves. So you shouldn't be satisfied with where you're at now.
That's life. That's life.
So yeah, that's life, So yeah, John was incredible last season. Despite the 25 game suspension, he came right back in and picked up
like
where
he
they
never
left
missed
off.
a beat.
Like he never missed a beat.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's so easy to miss a beat if you're not doing it consistently every day. And he's a real pro.
Yeah.
He's a very personable.
Yeah.
Funny dude.
Really.
Cool as all get out.
Yeah.
Like he's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Like not even just basketball players. Like he's just one of my favorite people. Just having the opportunity to work down there as we have, and just getting to know different guys and their personalities and so forth. Like not a knock on any of the other dudes, but it was just like if he would have told me that he was a comedian, but he hooped too,
you
you know what I'm saying? If he would have just told me like I'm
Right.
a real dude,
Yeah.
but I can get down and hoop a
Yeah,
little bit
right,
too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that it's John Collins.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I feel about, that squad individual. I mean, personally, from last year and the year before, you didn't really hear too much negativity. Like, I mean, you had some stuff here and there, but not as much as, you see with these other teams with these divas and problematic and got issues, mess around with folks' wives and, the crazy
They
stuff.
got a lot of nice guys on that team.
Very nice guys. But I mean, look at your coach who's leading by example.
Yeah,
Who's a true nice guy, inside and outside of basketball. Lloyd Pierce is a stand-up guy. And regardless of whatever happens, Atlanta should definitely recognize what he's done for not only the Atlanta Hawks, but the community of Atlanta.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And that says a lot about a coach, because you have these coaches in the league where it's just a business to them. And it's not so much of, I'm going to lead by example and I'm going to be a mentor to these guys.
He
and
cares
I'm
about
gonna-
his players.
He cares.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He
cares about his
cares.
players. And you ain't going to hear that every day coming from a lot
Not
of
from a lot of
No.
You know
a
what I'm
lot of
saying?
coaches,
No,
for
not
real.
at all.
In regards to them having nice guys on that team, I didn't love everything about that part though either.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I'm
very
saying?
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
I
Very true.
need somebody.
Right.
No.
Right.
And that's what they needed.
You know what I'm
though.
saying?
Yeah.
That's what they needed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
And I
they
don't
went out
know-
and got like a Chris Dunn or
Chris Dunn,
Rajon
or
Rondo
Rondo.
because
Yeah.
they gonna talk.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
in your face.
All that.
And
Yeah.
I like that because that's going to. I mean, when you start looking at Cam Reddish, who's kind of his approach to the game, just kind of
Yeah.
sometimes appears to be kind of,
Quiet. Yeah, he just
I
smooth
mean,
with it.
yeah,
he
he's
don't really,
smooth.
he don't really do
He
nothing.
too
Yeah,
cool
right.
sometimes.
He cool. That's what he is. He cool.
And then DeAndre is just. I mean, just DeAndre. He's
Yeah,
just a different.
they quiet. They
just-
real quiet.
Yeah.
They real quiet.
real conservative type dudes, whatnot, and Trey is that way a lot of times too.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm just glad to see that they needed some more. They needed more adults on this team.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Yeah.
They needed some adult supervision.
And we've been saying that. We've been saying that we need that dog. We need that Pat Bev or somebody
Yeah,
to come
somebody's
in
gonna
and,
talk.
shake it up a little
Yeah.
bit, throw a little spice up in there.
All right, going into some NBA talk. Man, we've had a lot of drama these past couple of days. I'm sure you've seen the whole James Harden debacle and everything. Him out.
Was he at the strip club?
It sure was.
Yeah, he was
Which
at
one
strip
was he
club.
at?
I
He was
do
in
not-
Vegas.
Oh, he was
in Vegas.
Oh, he was in Vegas
With Lil Baby.
Yeah, for
Hold on,
his
in
birthday.
Vegas or at Vegas?
No, like in Vegas.
Okay, somebody
Yeah.
told me he was here.
I thought so too.
thought he
A
was
lot of
too,
people
yeah.
thought he was in Atlanta with
Because I
Lil
only
Baby.
know one place to go when you talk about strip club.
Yeah. We all thought he was at Magic City, but apparently he was in Vegas. And
What day was this?
Ooh, this was what, like
Was it
2 days?
Yeah,
About
3 days ago. Yeah,
Okay, 'cause if
he
it was a
done missed
Monday-
2 days of practice already. I think.
Okay.
So,
And this is pre-recorded, so let's
Yeah.
say it was this surfaced like Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
See, I was gonna say if it was a Monday, he was in the wrong spot. He wasn't in Atlanta.
Oh my God!
Believe that.
Where would he have gone on Mondays?
Listen, I don't know how good these wings are, but I'm about to find out because it's two brothers. I don't know if they want me to put their information out.
Oh,
there
it's like that.
But
Ooh.
I got two homies that owe me some food.
Okay. Well, homies, if you're listening, you owe
if you're homies,
you owe him those wings.
I need those Lou Will
The Lou
lemon
Will.
pepper joints. Okay, I
oh,
like
they
'em.
good.
I like them. Oh, you
They
know.
good.
Oh, we had him on the show.
We had him on the show.
We had him on the show.
First episode.
First episode
in,
here.
in the studio.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had a show out.
Yep.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at him now. He intrigued.
Did the light bulb pop up on my?
They were pretty good.
They was good like
They
that.
were great. They were good.
I need them flats. I'm gonna tell my folks how I need my. I need them flat, and I need them crispy.
Crispy.
You know what I'm saying? The dry rub joint. They dry rub or they wet?
No, they were wet.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Okay, I need them to put them in the oven then
Yeah,
for
they
a
were
little
all-
while.
Oh, okay.
And I
So
need
you
the-
like crispy,
I
like
need the
crispy,
ranch.
crispy.
Hold that blue
Okay.
cheese. I don't do nothing with
Okay.
that. I need that. I need that
Facts.
ranch, and a little celery will be nice.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
already got the whole thing set up.
And
Okay.
a cold
I'm hungry now.
beverage.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
You good to
and
go.
and I got 2 bets, so that means I get double.
Oh,
Man.
you good to go then.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, James Harden was in a strip club. You know what James Harden do? James loves him some strip clubs.
Yeah.
But it was little baby's. I want to say, was it his birthday weekend?
It was his birthday weekend.
It was his birthday
It seemed like
weekend.
he's still celebrating.
Yeah, and they're really tight. So you know, obviously James does not want to be in Houston.
Clearly.
He's made it clear. He's made it clear from the beginning when he turned down the
Yeah.
50 mil. You know, and so now he's like, okay, y'all don't want to let me go. I'm just gonna force my way out. And I feel like that's where it's at. From what I saw today, is that he wants to be with the Sixers.
Yeah.
But from what I read is that Daryl Morey is not trying to give up his two, you know, young talents.
Dude,
so.
if you don't want to be here, then what am I holding on to you for?
True.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense to
True.
me.
Yeah.
I'm not about to be in no relationship with no chick that don't want to be in a relationship with me.
One-sided.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that just
Guys,
doesn't
super
make
fast.
sense. 2 + 2 is not 22.
There you go.
It's 4.
Yeah, you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, why hold on to something that don't want to be a part of what you're trying to create and
Yeah.
what you're trying to do? That just doesn't make sense to me. If
Yeah.
you want to walk, see you later.
Right.
And and then from that standpoint, then I'm gonna do my part, and we'll see you at the top then.
Yeah.
Because or you gonna meet me at the top.
Meet me there.
Because I'm gonna be there.
Matter of fact, beat me there.
Beat
You
me
know what
there.
I'm saying? Straight up.
You can't force it though. You
Yeah.
can't force it.
And if you want to go over there to Philly and do your thing or whatever, I know him and Meek Mill's tight and
Yeah.
all this other kind of stuff, whatever. If you want to be a part of that, then go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, we can build something over here and for whether it be from scratch or just from whatever, you
Yeah.
know, but I don't listen, not only that, I just don't want nobody to be around and don't want to be around.
True.
You don't want no negative energy,
real,
you
yeah.
know?
That's
And
real.
that's what I see. And, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I am a huge Russ stan. I don't care what anyone says. I'm Team
Brody.
Brody to the day I die.
The
But,
Brody.
you know, of course, everybody's like, oh, he's toxic. He's got to get
Oh,
out of
Westbrook.
here. He's the person. Yeah, Russell Westbrook.
Pointing fingers.
But I mean, look at, and I've just seen some debates on Twitter. I'm not saying that James is toxic, but you know, when you think about Melo, Chris Paul, you got Russ. I mean, you think about all these people who've came to Houston and have now left.
Take them all out the door.
And so we think about, well, who was the real issue? Who was the real problem? So, woo, drama.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching when he on the floor, and I'm not saying like I did go back and look at some of his statistics, and see the way that he dominates the ball. But he also, you know, was one of the highest assist leaders.
Yeah.
A couple seasons ago,
Yeah.
if not one
Oh,
or
yeah.
2 seasons, excuse me, ago, and he had to play the point guard position or whatever. But I just didn't feel like that was gonna work out with him and Russ, anyways.
I didn't even.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a good feel. And it's very similar to even if we were talking about him going over to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
I mean, like I can just
It's
see
not a good move.
the other players around them, the role players and whatever, what have you, just like standing over in the corner.
Just looking.
Man.
Doing jumping
Just
jacks.
looking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bruh. But then something happens on the other end of the floor, and now they pointing at them like,
Yeah.
where was y'all at?
Yeah.
It's a
bruh.
point game.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Blame
Yep.
game. That's what it is.
I don't like this brand of basketball.
Yeah, I think they were trying to recreate, you know, the old OKC times, and honestly, like, you know, all of these players now have elevated and have made a name tremendously, each and every single one of them, to where it's to the point now where it's like you have to have your own identity.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on, you know, and I hate this for you know, Coach, because he's in these interviews like, yeah, you know, we're hoping James can, you know, get it. It's just embarrassing. It sucks, you know, because this is his first year. This has nothing to do with him. And you know,
The entitlement
Yes.
of some of these players.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
what it
And,
Yes.
and this is the part that I don't like about the NBA in comparison to the NFL. Because the NFL ain't going to put up with that.
yeah.
Like, they're just not. I mean, there's going to be some instances where they do. But for the most part, they just don't deal. We don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just not feeling that about when it comes to that with the NBA. Like, you can be the decision maker.
Right.
Or you can be of course, the difference maker of how much this team can succeed. But sometimes they can roll out there and not really play as hard, just because. I wouldn't be surprised if James Harden was gonna make them pay because he can't leave. Yeah. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
If you go out there, you're gonna jack every shot, and I'm not getting back on defense. And it probably won't look different than how it is because I never get back on defense anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So this is who you want. This is who you want to pay. This is the mentality of, and I don't want that on my. What's the new word you said? Toxic. Is that what everybody uses?
Toxic.
The toxic.
It's the word.
Yeah. Cancer, toxic, all of that. I don't want that. And I don't want that in my locker room. I don't want that rubbing off on other players.
Nope.
I don't want that rubbing off onto me.
It's my first season as a head coach.
Head coach?
Yeah, bro, no.
Whole new everything.
Yeah.
GM, like everything is
All
new.
that,
So if you have to get rid of the old and out with the new, just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I don't know. I feel like is it really? It can't be that easy though. I mean, I understand you want to trade him, but like, who? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want him, but it's like
you have to give up a lot.
Yeah, are you willing to really trade for that guy? You don't know if he's gonna stay after his contract. Yeah, it's kind of hard. So
yeah, a lot of risky moves is gonna have to be
yeah.
made. But I don't think people realize how draining it can be to play with a cancer on the team.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, you're with these people basically 24/7. You travel together, you practice together, you have meetings together. There's all these different things. So when the chemistry is off, the team cannot perform.
Right.
And a lot of people don't really understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on John Wall and Russell Westbrook trade?
It's about as Steven as I can get.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know what Wall we're gonna see, but I have a good feeling that I know what kind of competitor that he is and that he's gonna be as long as he's on the floor. But I mean, you can only compete when you can compete. If you hurt, then you hurt. I mean, I'm just so used to seeing the speedy John Wall that can, kind of twist and turn his body in so many different ways and so forth, and just the athleticism and everything else. And I like the dog that he got too.
For sure.
I love that about him. And then obviously you putting that with a DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, maybe try and reinvent that old Kentucky
that
or
Kentucky
whatever.
magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe try and put some of that together. But two guys coming off of big time injuries and stuff like that, I'm not sure. And I mean, even Westbrook. I mean, I don't know. Everything about it just tells me that it's even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he's probably the most competitive guy in this league.
Yeah.
And so I'm just excited for basketball in general.
Amen.
I want to see how all of it is going to unravel.
Yeah.
Every last layer off that onion coming up off of it. And I'm just excited for them boys to just tip that ball up in the air and say, let's get it. And not be friends about everything all the time.
Yeah.
Compete.
Yeah.
Compete for real.
It's too friendly nowadays.
Come for these
It's
necks,
too friendly.
way too friendly.
Yeah.
Way too friendly.
All right, we're going to do NCAA? All right, so let's get into some college hoops. We know this is your this is your bread and butter.
Take hoops right here, guys.
butter.
Exclusively.
Like I got the napkin wrapped around my neck right now, like with a steak in front of me.
We don't know
Just
what
talking to it, like making faces at it.
I'm
We're
weak.
going to give you a broad question. What are your thoughts so far about NCAA so far?
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so much uncertainty. It kind of gives me the same feel that NBA gave me when during the resumption.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have the fans. Like, that's what I love. And the crazy part about it is I've embraced that a little bit more than I usually would, because the fan base is what makes up college basketball so much sometimes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just those crazy raucous crowds, and I mean, Duke don't even look the same.
No.
You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
feel like Duke.
It don't feel like Duke.
Nope.
And I ain't complaining,
Right.
because my team beat them last week.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm just happy to see it back, and that kind of neutralizes things a little bit when you don't have those fans.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited all across the board. I mean, I'm hating. It's a little difficult to keep up with who's canceling and what have you like that. That's a little bit on the tougher side. But yet still, like, it's college basketball for me. Sure. That's all I look forward to. That's probably really sad. But that's what I look forward to. That's my joy.
After the year that we done had,
that's my joy in
something,
right? Yeah.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. Now, how do you think COVID-19 will affect the season and the players' draft stock?
It's definitely going to affect it, especially if you're not able to work out for teams. But that's going to be in any draft, as long as there's a pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard for these guys to get acclimated with having that same drive or looking forward to games. Like, we're talking about college students. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you really look forward to. Like, a lot of these guys just want to go play. I don't even give a damn who it is. Just let us play somebody.
Yeah.
And especially getting tired of playing each other. Like, there's situations right now where, a lot of these guys can't even practice against each other, or scrimmage or whatever because of the pandemic alone, let alone not being able to play other teams.
Yeah.
Can't even play your own team in some situations.
Yeah.
So that's obviously really, really tough. And it's going to have an effect, but there's going to be some teams that are going to, much like how we're seeing right now with Ohio State only playing 5 games in football and maybe SEC or
just cancel
whoever else or whatever.
They lost their whole eligibility
exactly.
to be in the playoffs.
Yep.
I'm like, dang.
Seriously. And so there's going to be other teams able to play like 11 or 12 games.
Yeah.
The main one's talking about we want to play.
For real.
Yeah, they can't even get in. Can't even get in.
Man.
And ironically enough, and I know we're talking about college basketball, this is one of the very few times you'll hear me talk about college football over college basketball. But ironically enough, so I guess the rule is that you have to play 6 games in order to make it into the conference, into the playoffs for football.
That's it. Yeah.
Michigan on some
they know what they were doing, right?
That's fool with y'all.
You sneaky.
I ain't even saying do us a favor, but you can't be that scared.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then people are going to turn around and say, well, it's about the health of the player.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's about the health of the players.
Of course.
And you can't say nothing.
Of
They're
course.
waving the white flag right now.
Of course.
Or the red flag or whatever flag. But I got my win against them, so I ain't tripping. But but on a serious note, like, for there not to, there's going to be games that are going to be canceled.
Yeah.
Teams aren't going to be able to play the same amount as every other game. But at the end of the day, guess what? Like, it works the same for everybody.
Yeah.
To an extent. Like, we're all dealing with unprecedented times and so much up in the air, so much uncertainty, things that we can't really count on. But at the end of the day, even though everybody won't play the same amount of games, you better than them, go beat them boys.
True, fact. That's
Okay.
facts.
That's how I'm feeling about
That's
it.
fact.
Like, I don't care who in the crowd and who ain't. Or I understand some have more time to practice than others, or some have more game. But we ain't about to be using asterisks
Nah, for real.
out here just because.
Yeah.
Like, that's what always killed me about football games when it's playoffs and somebody has to travel to Green Bay for their playoff game. And then it's like, oh, well, it's cold and this and that. But we ain't about to act like every player on Green Bay's roster is from Green Bay. I'm sure they got players on their team that's from Miami, California.
And they probably looking
from
like
different parts of the country. You know,
they gonna fall too. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the opposition, who y'all are making excuses for, probably got players on their teams that's from Wisconsin.
Right.
So I just hate that way of it. But at the end of the day, I just want to see competitive basketball, and I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to see asterisk put on anything. And who gonna win it is who gonna win it, because the team that win it ain't gonna be putting no asterisk on nothing.
They gonna take that. I'm gonna shoot. You
the Lakers ain't giving nothing back.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. At all. They just re-up.
Yeah. Now, take your favorite team out of it. Just take it.
That's gonna be hard to do.
Just take it out for a minute.
I can do that.
My last question for you,
Or
I gotta
some
close
teams-
my eyes when I do that.
Who are some teams to look out for during the season?
I think the consensus, everybody's gonna talk about Gonzaga. You know, I mean, I think, and they're a good team. They lost some key pieces between Killian Tilly and Philip Petrusev, but bringing in Jalen Suggs, who was a Mr. Football and Mr. Basketball,
Right.
coming out of Minnesota, and a teammate of Chet Holmgren, and #1 senior in the country. But you know, even having, I think his name is Drew Timme. Last name is definitely Timme on that squad. And Corey Kispert on that team. Like, they're obviously a good team, but they're always going to be. I didn't really feel like they're #1. A lot of people are like, they #1. It's going to be justifiable despite anyways, because they realized that they had to beef up their non-conference schedule. They did that. They've been winning games, and they've got a hefty schedule in front of them of teams that they have had to play even so far.
Yeah.
Playing Auburn and playing Baylor, or not Baylor because that one got canceled, but Kansas, and beating them in West Virginia. I mean, the least amount of points that Gonzaga has put up so far has been like 87. I mean, they're putting points on the board. But I think my issue with them is they beef up the non-conference schedule, which they know that they have to do, and then they go into conference play.
Yeah.
In the West Coast Conference, as terrible as that is, and they adjust to that level of competition in the West Coast Conference. And this is part of the reason for why I don't believe that they are very successful in the tournament, is because after they adjust to West Coast Conference, now they have to readjust in a winner go home, one and done type of scenario.
Correct.
Against similar teams that you were playing at the beginning of the year against, some of that kind of competition. And I think that's a huge reason behind why they don't typically, or let alone exceed expectations, meet some people's expectations. If there's a year for them to do it, this is going to have to be the year, but I feel like we've been saying that forever. I'll never pick them on my bracket. But
He said, "I never
feel free
Yeah.
if you do what you do."
Yeah.
But they're going to have to do something, man. Like, if they don't move on to the Pac-12 conference or something, I mean, you got to do something. Like, you got to at least jump into the Mountain West. You know what I'm saying? Where
Something.
you got San Diego States and some of those teams. Like, you got to do something. But Baylor is obviously a very experienced team. They always get some really good transfers in, very physical. So they're good. Not putting a lot of belief in them. Like, when it comes to March, my belief in teams becomes something different.
Yeah.
Regular season is one thing.
Yeah.
But until you show me, I'm not from Missouri. I'm from Michigan, baby. But you still
That's one of the real
you
ones.
still gonna have to show me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's real.
Richmond is gonna be a tough team for anybody. I know. And
Did you see that game the other day?
Absolutely. Is that a trick question?
Hey.
Is that a trick question?
I'm just messing.
Hey.
Which one though? Because they were just in the game the other night.
Yesterday.
Okay, I didn't
Monday.
see. No, see, there was a reason why she asked. There was a reason why she asked because I was looking at.
Well, that was my first time watching them.
They are
and
for real.
They are great. What is the guy? Man, he has a killer step back. He actually knocked down a 3 for them to win the game. Goodness. What is this guy's name?
And I can't think
of his name.
this name for nothing. But I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about. And they got
Little
about 3 or
short,
4,
light-
yes.
light bright.
And they got about 3 or 4. Don't be judging all the
I
light
know,
bright. You
I
knew
know.
I was going to say something.
Look.
She
Look.
tried to sneak
Little
light bright
light
in there.
bright.
Little light bright.
Should I say real quiet like
Yeah,
that?
try quiet. I got big ears. I hear everything, even
No.
through the headphones. But Richmond is. They beat Kentucky and this and that. But they're still a good team. Like, they are this year's version, to me, of something similar to like what Dayton was last year.
Okay.
Same
okay.
conference, Atlantic 10, but they are the real deal. They got those seniors on the team, very veteran-led club. And when you start talking about coach, they got a good coach too.
Yeah.
So they're going to be dangerous just right off the rip. And I mean, there's the crazy part about it is that like these blue blood teams haven't even really been looking all that good.
At all.
Like Kentucky's 1-3, Kansas look like even though they've been winning some games, they've struggled.
They were all right.
Duke look like they've been struggling, like they stink right now. North Carolina just hasn't appeared to look like the same North Carolina since forever.
Yeah.
Even the year they won the national championship. So
Yeah.
I mean,
You
from
think
that
it's got to do it with the
standpoint,
fans? You think it's that crowd that hype them up? Because them all the teams they be having the lit crowds and whatnot. And
But I don't know. Like North Carolina hasn't been recruiting the same.
Yeah.
And they just look different.
Yeah.
Like even though they've won national championships with Roy Williams and deservedly so. Like, but even those teams look different than the Dean Smith teams.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like they just have a different feel. But there's still some other teams out there that we haven't really, really addressed very much. Still some teams that I want to kind of keep my eye on to see exactly what they finna do and what they ain't finna do.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this year because this year somebody that wins it, first of all, is probably not going to be anybody that was ranked in the top 5. But I do think it's going to be a complete team, the same way we've been seeing it. You've been seeing all these blue blood teams that have been going to get these one-and-done players, but one-and-done teams are not the ones that have been winning national championships.
Nope.
Villanova has won twice in the last 5 years, and they never even had a one-and-done on their team.
Yep.
You got Virginia. They were essentially right about the same way. That Carolina team, I think they did have one and done with Tony Bradley, but it's not like they had a whole squad full of them in 2017. Yeah. So, it almost kind of pays in college basketball right now to be one of those programs that got quite a few guys on it that were there from a few years prior.
Yeah, and even with saying that, I mean, when you have teams like that are able to stay together for 2-3 years and be able to build that chemistry and to build that rhythm with one another, I mean, honestly, that's what you want to see.
No doubt.
But I mean, you're going to have your one and done.
That's what college basketball is.
Yeah.
Like, we grew up seeing guys that was like juniors and seniors and could have left and went to the league, but still coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not only that, but I think one thing that would help players to make that decision to stay, even if they were good enough to leave after 1 year, is that nowadays, see, the NBA used to value those type of players. Now it's like if you stay in for 3 or 4 years, it's like what's wrong with him?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like what's wrong with his game? Like why did he have to stay this long or that long? And I just hate the idea that the draft is just not what it used to be in terms of, instead of it being about what it's supposed to be about, who can you really contribute to or what team can you contribute to right away if you decide to make the jump. Like now it's about, I don't care if we like draft this dude and stash him away, work on him and his body and his development for like 3 years and see what he gonna be going off of rankings and everything else when it really should be about something different. I don't like the direction that the league is going in with that, but I mean, they're not beating down Deshaun Tate's door or anything.
It's already good.
I mean, but it's a trend now. It's like everybody is just trying to play catch up with each other. Like, oh, so-and-so done went, he a one and done. There's no value to being a one and done if you don't come over and transfer over and grow your game and elevate into an NBA player. You rarely see that now. You got a couple people like that, they come out and they do what they're supposed to do in the league and they continue to grow. But to me, especially with these younger guys now, it's a trend for them where it's like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm already verified on Instagram. I'm already verified on Twitter. This. I got this. I've been verified since high school. We talked about this before.
I hate them people that's doing that for these kids.
What?
Yeah. Like, it's just way
You have
too much.
nothing to look forward to now, in my opinion, because you're just so used to it. So it's like, to me, there's no room for you to be authentic. There's no room for you to really work for something because everything has been given to you.
That's right.
Because you feel as though, I've been verified on Twitter since I was 15. I've been verified on Instagram since I was 15. I've been a sensation since I was 14. And I mean, no knock to it because it's just a different era now. But now you're starting to see the value decrease tremendously because there's no longevity in a lot of these players because they get so caught up in the hype.
And then they wonder why some of the kids feel so entitled.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
What I'm saying?
And that is not good.
And everybody has a YouTube tape or a Instagram, whatever, on Twitter. Yeah. And people shouting them out and this and that. And this kid's down to, his last 5 schools.
Right. Yeah.
And whatever.
Make a whole
But
video
this kid
about
is like a 2 or a 3-star.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Social media era.
the teams on his list are like George Mason and you know what I'm saying?
yeah, right, yeah.
Like
Catch up. Everybody's
Abilene
trying
Christian.
to. Yeah.
Like, by the way, speaking of Abilene Christian, there are a couple teams this year. I don't know if y'all
There you go.
get into betting and all that other type of stuff, casinos and whatever, sports book and whatever, what have you. But
Y'all
for
listen
the
to this
people
if
that's
y'all
paying
bet.
attention, there are a few teams out there that's gonna make you some money this year if you taking them. Maybe not every single game. Liberty is gonna make you some money.
Ooh,
right,
Liberty.
y'all heard that.
Liberty,
On
Liberty's
record.
been upsetting some folks.
On record.
Liberty, Richmond,
Richmond.
Abilene Christian, and a school called Merrimack.
Merrimack.
I told you I'll be up late night when
Yeah.
everybody be sleeping.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Y'all heard that.
Those are just a few teams. 2 of them ain't even been D1 teams that long.
Wow.
But like if those spreads is like way too big, yeah, it can go down. So I'm trying to help your pockets out.
Okay.
Yeah, cash up your boy something.
I know I give him a
Slick.
percentage, man.
Drop your
Give him a
cash app, Take.
percentage,
Drop
man.
cash
saying?
app.
I don't even know what my cash out is. But you can find it if you look my name up.
There you go.
But
Type in the number.
yeah, seriously.
There you go. There you go.
But no, on the real though, but like saying all of that, like I really believe that there's a lot of entitlement, and I hate it.
Yep.
I really don't like it. It's too much flexing and this and that. I just wish that it was just how it used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Same.
I really hate it. And if it's bad now, I can just imagine what it's gonna be like.
When they actually get there, if they do, it's gonna be
bad.
pretty bad.
Or whether it's when I
Yeah.
have kids and when they're coming up,
Yeah.
like what is it gonna be like at that point? I
Yeah.
mean, everybody's already shooting from so far outside but can't make a layup. You know what I'm saying? Or slam dunking and can do this and can do that, but can't make a free throw.
Can't make that.
That's a free
Nothing.
throw.
Nothing.
That's free.
It's free.
It's free, bro. That's a free space on a bingo card, bro. All you gotta do is put your chip on it. You know what I'm talking about? Ain't nobody
Yeah.
running out at you.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, you're funny. All right, Tay, we're gonna end off my last question for you. Gonna end off on a good note. You're Michigan State guys. You know, I've seen some good things. I actually watched the game from the other day. Joey Hauser? Am I pronouncing his last name right? You got Rocket Watts. Gosh, what is the other guard with the twist? I can't remember. It starts with the M. How can I forget his name? He's one of the main players.
Aaron Henry.
Aaron Henry. There we go. I don't know why I thought his name started with
With
M.
M.
Aaron Henry. Yes. What are your thoughts on Michigan State? They look pretty good.
I don't want to jinx them.
He don't want to say too much.
Okay. What are some positives and some negatives?
They
you see?
playing well.
Yeah.
It's typical like Tom Izzo type basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna crash the boards. They're gonna clean the windows up and all that good stuff. They're gonna play defense. They can score it. I think they got enough scorers. It's gonna be sometimes a little concerning in terms of defense, mainly turnovers. Like, you're going to have to get that turnover. I don't know what it is about turnovers and injuries with Michigan State every year.
Yeah.
But typically, when and this is a little bit of a surprising year because of the guys that are expected to be coming in for next year with some of the recruiting classes and maybe even the year following. I don't know what decision Imani Bates is going to make just yet, but a lot of people have been approaching this year with Michigan State as just a year that's like, let's hurry up and get it out of the way so we can get next year started. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But they've came out. They've played well. I mean, we've seen so many teams take losses. I mean, Kentucky's 1-3. Kansas has lost. Virginia has lost. Wisconsin has lost. Villanova has lost. And now Michigan State's up in this top 5, which is probably not going to surprise a whole lot of people. But I will say enough to say that usually when we see Michigan State, we know what they do. Like, it's crazy to think of it the way that this happens. It happens this way every year because all of the preseason rankings are really based off of a couple things. Number one, who's returning, and number two, how they finished the year from the year before. And that's really all you can base it on. Well, Michigan State typically always has everybody coming back. Yeah. And they always finish years strong. So they're always going to be ranked really high to begin a season.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they play some really tough teams, your Dukes and blah, 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 blah. And then they lose early. Okay? and you tend to forget about them. The best time Michigan State is playing their best brand of basketball is when they're just floating. Like when they're just in the middle somewhere.
Nobody really
they done took a couple L's already.
Yeah,
Everybody's now like, this team beat Michigan State. This team did this. This team. And so Michigan State's now on the back burner to an extent. And the closer you get to March, the closer Michigan State starts playing better. He starts preparing those guys. And I think that's one of the main reasons why you've seen so many teams like beef up their non-conference schedules, because they've learned over so much time, especially with Tom Izzo, that let's throw our guys out in the fire early. So that by the time March and whatever else roll around, they don't experience the worst part that there is. You know, sometimes people's like, what the heck is he thinking scheduling like 6 top 10 ranked opponents in such a little time right out the gate, and they get the doors blown off of them. But how do they always end up here in the end? And I think that that's how, and especially with good coaching, that's the only way that things like that can happen. But I like Rocket. Really good offensive player. Got to bring it along a little bit more defensively, a lot of bit more defensively. And some of the other guys, like you said, Joey. And watch out for this guy named, and a lot of people don't give him nearly as much credit, but his name is Gabe Brown. Okay. This dude can play. Like, he's a wing, a lefty. I think he's the best shooter on Michigan State's team. I do believe he is kind of got that sneaky athleticism, and why a lot of other guys are going to get the credit. I love everything about his game from the very first time that I saw him play. He makes some mental errors from time to time, but, you know, he typically straightens all of that out, you know, by a certain point. So I'm excited to see what these guys is going to do this year. They got a big game coming up against Virginia. We know that they play defense like nobody else's business. They play defense on offense sometimes. You know? But I'm excited to see what the future holds for my boys, man. I'm in there with them. Okay. I'm in there. We might as well change it from Michigan State to Michigan Tate. You know
there you go, Michigan Tate.
As much money, people be saying, every time you talk about Michigan State, you always say, you know, us or we. Yeah. I'm like, as much money as I done gave this doggone institution.
It's gonna be we.
It's gonna be we.
Okay, and more.
And some.
And some. Hey, Deshaun Tate came through, dropped some gems on us. Deshaun Tate of Tate Takes Hoops. Deshaun, where can everybody follow you and all that good stuff? Follow your podcast. When can everybody tune in and new content?
No doubt. You just said it. At Tates Take Hoops on all social media platforms, Twitter, all that good stuff. At Tates Take Hoops and Tates Take the podcast. Anywhere you find your favorite podcast, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Red Circle, Stitcher. We stream live on Facebook. We stream live on YouTube. So ain't no excuses.
No excuses.
There's only one Tates Take that's out there.
There you go.
It's only one.
And so, you know, you never know who we're going to have on as a guest. You know, we brought Jay Billis and a whole bunch of other people on, you know, talk about college basketball. And it's, like you said, it's multi-level. Yeah. So if it's, you know, high school level, we talk about it. Collegiate, NBA, international. I told you before, if they rolling around in wheelchairs, we talking about that thing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? If they playing ball on the moon,
we doing that too.
We got to talk about that. We doing that ball on the moon. So, hey, if it's 94 feet long and 50 feet wide, the rim 10 feet high, we covering it.
That's it.
So go and find it. Subscribe. Subscribe.
Make sure
you subscribe. Tell your mama, tell your grandmama, tell your friends, tell your enemies.
Whole family.
Everybody. We want the enemies. We want that bad energy.
No, they be watching.
Listen, we want that bad energy, man.
Tell the enemies. I need all the energy.
The views.
All the smoke. I need all the smoke. I need all that.
Well, again, Deshaun Tate, thank you so much for coming through and blessing us with your knowledge. It's always a pleasure with you.
No doubt. I appreciate you guys. And y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Keep hustling. Keep grinding. You know, what is the new thing? Out the mud and all that?
Out the mud. Straight right here in Decatur.
In the deck. It's going to be a minute before I come back over here. And
it's dark outside too, so make sure them lights is on.
And if my car got all the same stuff in it as it was when I'm coming to see y'all.
Oh my gosh!
Like I told you, look, we good in the streets.
We good over here. We some East Side legends. We got you.
I act real light skinned when stuff start going down. You know what I'm saying?
We are some East Side legends around here.
But thank y'all so much, man, just for having me and allowing me to share the platform and the space with y'all and just sharing some of my passion. Hoping that some of the people got some good stuff out of it as well. And I look forward to hopefully doing this with y'all again.
Sure.
Next time, let me know. I had to bring some Popeyes through.
Please,
however
man.
y'all
we
get
going
down.
right there.
They gonna call you out on it. They gonna call you out. It's one right here on the corner.
Right
Right
here.
That. But no, seriously, on a serious note, y'all just keep grinding, man, because I love what y'all doing. And I want to see everybody flourish. You know what I'm saying? I love to see good things happen to good people.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say I like to see bad things happen to bad people, but I like to see good things happen to good people. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And y'all good people. And I know what y'all got going on is going to go some places.
That.
And anything that I can ever do, please don't hesitate. Because I told y'all I'll be up late. So don't hesitate if there's anything that I can ever do to help contribute to the movement.
Got you. That's Deshaun Tate for coming through. And that is episode 23. You guys already know the drill. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram at InTheClutchPod. Show us some love. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we are there at In The Clutch Pod. Show us some love. We just actually made it to 1K followers on Twitter. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to our social media coordinator.
Y'all remember Banghead Bounce?
Do the Banghead Bounce.
You got the fishing pole and you reel it in.
So shout out to that. Shout out to everybody that listens to us, that watches us, and supports us.
Love,
we
man.
are so appreciated of it. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. I am Nia. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Nia on Air.
I am Malik. You can find me at _Malik ATL.
And that is In The Clutch Pod with Nia Malik featuring Deshaun Tate. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys.